The state fair is a week away, which it is tomorrow. That means the first day of school is right around the corner. One of the biggest items to have on your back to school list, vaccines for the kids. So joining us now, Onondaga County Health Commissioner, Dr. Katie Anderson. Katie, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Jeff. So
what would you say is the easiest way to actually even know if your kids have the necessary vaccines to attend school? Because many probably do.
Right. So this is the important thing that parents need to know right now is we're about a month away from the start of school, and depending on the age of your child, well, regardless of the age of your child, they need to be up to date on their specific vaccines for school this fall. And you may or may not know if your child is up to date. The best thing you could do is contact your primary care physician and ask, try to get a nurse on the phone and see if you can verify. But there are some things that you can kind of go by in terms of regular milestones. So most of the vaccines needed are for preschoolers or those going into daycare, some going into kindergarten. And if your child has been at the same school since kindergarten or first grade and they're between there and sixth grade, they're probably okay. The next kind of bump up in terms of when vaccines are needed is typically about 6th or 7th grade, and then again at 16 years of age. So there may be many years where the kids don't need vaccines to go back, but there's some clear windows where they may.
Okay, gotcha. What would you say are some of the more common vaccines that kids need for school that maybe that typically kind of fall through the cracks, I guess? What would they be looking out for?
Yeah, so kids, as part of back-to-school vaccines, there's actually a wide variety of vaccines that protect against multiple infections that can cause severe disease or some which may be highly transmissible and cause maybe a milder disease. Some of the bigger ones that come to mind are measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, polio, meningitis, and there are others. So there's a somewhat long list of vaccines that children need to receive, but they're standard, and it should be relatively easy to get them, even all in one day.
So you mentioned one of the easiest things to do. Call or check with your pediatrician's office to see what if you actually don't have a pediatrician. What options do you have to make sure kids are up to date, and if they're not up to date, how they get those necessary shots?
I think that's the really important question going into the school year, because we know that many people in our area don't have a primary care physician. They're getting harder and harder to find, as are those primary care appointments, even if you have one. Another change since COVID is that pharmacies used to be able to give these back-to-school vaccines, and they can't anymore. So if you're not able to get the appointment that you need for your child to be vaccinated in time for school, call your primary care. If that's not an option, call the county, and we can either refer you and link you up with local providers who are helping us kind of meet this back-to-school vaccination need, or we can try to make an appointment for you to be seen in one of our clinics.
Seems like kind of an easy answer, I'm guessing, but what happens if a child actually does not have the required shots?
That's the important reason why we're talking right now, is these vaccines are fundamentally important for your child's health, but the practical implications are if they are not up to date on their vaccines by the start of the school year, within 14 days of that, they risk being excluded from school, which means they cannot come back to school until you demonstrate that they've gotten their vaccine. So our goal at the health department, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about it, is that no child misses any days of school because they cannot get the vaccines they need.
Clearly you explained, why it's important for the kids to get them, but I'm guessing for other kids in the classroom too, you want to make sure that everybody is protected so somebody's not potentially passing something to somebody else, right? I mean, that's why it's a requirement for basically excluding a few exceptions. They're required for every student.
That's right. So there's multiple reasons why these vaccines are required. They're required because they're fundamentally important for your child's health and also for protecting the health of all the kids who are around them. So all of these vaccines that we're talking about protect against pediatric diseases or diseases in kids, which can be very serious or spread very easily. And one of the challenges we have right now as people working in public health is that some of these very severe diseases, like polio, like measles, that for our parents or, decades ago would have been something that they would have known how serious and terrible this disease could be. The vaccines have worked so well, we don't see those anymore. So we start to see people undervaluing the vaccines, not understanding why it's so important. But we want our kids to stay safe, and we want all the kids around them to be safe and protected as well.
Got about 30 seconds left. For anybody that's vaccine hesitant for whatever reason, what would you tell them?
I would say that this is one of the most important things that you can do to protect your child's health, is to make sure they get their vaccines. These vaccines are safe. They've gone through extensive testing and evaluation, and they've been in millions or billions of arms to this point. So I vaccinated my kids and strongly encourage you to do the same.
I think that's pretty succinctly put. Dr. Katie Anderson, the Onondaga County Health Commissioner, you know, we always appreciate having you on. You really kind of help us understand and break things down very clearly and easily. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.